Hi, Miss Morphew here. This week we're going to do storytelling, and it could be your favorite old story, something you've heard around the campfire, or a story that you curate to meet the rubric needs. You always remember your why, guys. The audience is king, and you go in there generally with some specific purpose. We know the four purposes for speaking and writing are to inform, persuade, entertain, or just let it all get out and have emotional cleansing. Stories have the power to reach all of our speaking purposes. We might have a standalone story like you're going to do this week, or you can use it to illuminate and underline and emphasize and connect with your receivers in an expository speech. Either way, no matter the purpose, you can either just push out the facts, or you can change the pacing and draw your listeners in with story. Audience response is key. So merge meaning and emotions using stories. Deliver that message to their heads and to their hearts, just like the rhetorical pillars that Aristotle shares. How are you going to find it? Well, you can just probably think of one that has the components that we need that are on the rubric. Or you could go pick out a book. The Art Circle Public Library is amazing, and that's in Cumberland. You might check out some of the kids' books. You might watch some storytelling vids, and Google Images is one of my favorite initial search engines because it lets me visit pages. What kind of story? Maybe a fable or a fairy tale, but don't go Disney on me because they have way too many characters, and then you end up just doing a sequence for, this happened, this happened, this happened. Maybe a cool myth from whatever culture you choose, or a how did it happen, pork-pie tale. Again, does it fit the rubric and your audience and your purpose? When you're organizing, planning and practice, maybe cue cards and having maybe a presentation visual of some sort can help you organize your message. You do need to limit and focus your topic to fit the rubric needs. Choose some strong characters, and we'll get to know those characters with your descriptions and the things that they say and do and the people around them say and do, or characters around them. I suggest that you start with something that doesn't sound like I'm going to tell you or my speech is about, and you have some attention-grabbing opener. Remember to plan those transitions. Some of you realized, oh my goodness, I say and so and like that many times. Choose some intentional transitions. If you're using a children's book, they often have good ones written in there. And if you don't know what a transition is because you haven't been in English for a while, go ahead and Google that. You'll see lists and you'll go like, oh yeah, I know what those are. Remember to let your focus and the dialogue, where those characters talk and you change your voices, meet your needs here. Tell your story. And finally, have a great last line. Will Rogers, a cowboy philosopher, wonderful actor, and guy you've got to check out to figure out all the quotes that you're saying that came from him, says, never miss a good chance to shut up. At the very end, after that good long line, just be quiet and look at everybody. That's a really good trick that good speakers will use, good presenters will use to let everybody know, and I'm done now. The time limit for most of the remaining speeches we have is 4 to 6 minutes, and that's listed on the rubric. You see pictured here, if you're looking on a computer and you can see it, or if maybe your mobile device gives you a clue, this was our PES kind of thing. I used this originally in our storytelling long ago when we were Speech 1010. We now have all that information on the new rubric, the new format. It's still all in there, but it's slightly different so that the scoring will be a little easier to do, not just hopping. And if you will look at the attachment in news, you will see the new rubric. Remember that the online learning center tutors can help you, whether it's for this or other assignments. And for this, they can help you with story choice or maybe what visuals you might use. They'll help you brainstorm. They could even Zoom with you if you want to help practice your thing. Now, from this point on, if you've gotten the deep down and dirty, but I'm going to give a few more details. You decide if you can quit the video now. The components on our rubric suggest that your character matters. Limit your characters so that they'll talk to one another and move forward the action. And it's okay to have a bad guy or the antagonist, as you know, because sometimes antagonists make the hero or the protagonist seem even better. Makes a good story. Up to you. Do you have a problem? Some kind of a conflict? We know that whole triangle-ish thing where you lead into the story and it gets to a climax and then it gets resolved through all of their actions and movements. Have a problem in some kind of a denouement or solution. Visuals can totally help. We know this graphic. Don't write the story out. Don't read us the story if you're showing the book on the Elmo. Graphically grab us. That helps. So about your personal delivery, I've seen some great ones in our last speeches. A few people were just really exceptional. Joe Navarro, a former FBI agent who is now a nonverbal communication expert, says up to 80% of what we communicate is nonverbal. So we want to match our vocal delivery with that nonverbal cueing, our movements and our stance. Animate your facial expressions. And you did a pretty good job, really, about eye contact. So keep that up. Use gestures that feel natural and movement when it's comfortable, but do be aware of your posture. The speaker's guidebook also says dress appropriately, but for this, it seriously could be, you know, a cape or a costume or a hat that you refer to as well. Here are some pictures that I've shown you before that if you're not a natural speaker, or if you are, you can look at and intentionally use in 2 or 3 spots of your story, and that will enhance the telling. I'm going to put a vid link, a 13-minute vid link in the news as well. The Stanford graduates say that you can plan and practice your message and your gestures with your audience in mind so that you take them on your journey. It's also kind of funny to watch, but they give you some intentional gestures to utilize. Be aware of. Your voice is going to be so powerful in storytelling. Again, avoid the reading because that makes people go way too fast, and avoid the reading because it can also make monotone happen, you know, where you have no inflection and no expression and no emphasis and no pause. The final hints for success is that a strong story is going to fit our time and the audience. You can use cue cards or something to help you keep your sequence or to remember certain words or phrases you want to use. I even drew eyeballs on my little cue cards in speech so that I would know, hey, Anne, look up. You can make whatever symbols work for you. And I give you a few other little tips there about using character voices and practicing those best visuals and practicing in your time. But here's my final line. Memorize that first line and that last line, because if speakers are feeling at all nervous, that's when they tend to mess up and it can throw the whole thing, or you can ramble a whole lot at the end. Those Learning Center tutors can also help you with that TED Talk. Just give them the directions and show them your work, and they'll help you fix it up if you want. Don't forget that online, however you're keeping your reflection journal and what the course outline says to do. Thanks for your time. Have a good weekend.